these developments.
We know the migration.
After 3 years of silence, there is finally news regarding the construction of the scandal-plagued Kimwarer, Aror and Itare dams. According to President William Ruto, Kenya and Italy have agreed to drop the court cases related to the projects that were initially estimated to cost around 66 billion shillings.
We, as the government of Kenya, are going to withdraw the cases filed against the companies, and the government of Italy and the contractors are also going to withdraw the arbitration cases.
The multi-billion construction of the 3 dams was halted in 2019 by the then President Uhuru Kenyatta, after investigations revealed that billions of money were paid to an Italian company for work that was not done.
We have agreed that the financing that was already made available is going to be restructured, and the projects are going to start. We intend to clear the court issues in the next 1 month and be able to start the process of negotiating the restructuring of financing. Hopefully, we should be able to go on with the construction of these dams in a matter of months.
Kenya and Italy further agreed to remove non-tariff barriers in a bid to strengthen trade and investment in the two countries.
I am delighted to announce that the President of Italy, President Mattarella, and I witnessed the signing of 2 agreements, 2 MOUs, and a joint declaration to provide a framework for advancement of bilateral cooperation in different fields.
The official visit by President Sergio Mattarella of Italy presents an opportunity for the two countries to strengthen their bilateral relations and further explore areas of mutual cooperation, including health and trade.
We have signed an MOU through which our two countries shall cooperate in the fields of health towards the realization of universal health coverage and improved pharmaceutical production.
Italy and Kenya also agreed to cooperate in the United Nations and other international forums to promote peace and security. Andrin Akilemi, TV 47.
Elsewhere, and after a 1-month campaign to persuade Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties to fold and join UDA party, 6 political parties have succumbed to pressure and have finally agreed to fold up and join the United Democratic Alliance Party. Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry, Moses Kuria's former party, Chama cha Kazi, is among the folded parties. ANC party, led by Lamu County Governor Issa Timami, has since dismissed the calls, saying plans were in fact underway to rejuvenate the prime CS Musalia Mudavadi affiliate party from the grassroots, as Mike Kagwongo now tells us.
The little-known Umoja na Maendeleo party, led by former Embu County Governor Martin Wampora, Farmers Party of Kenya, led by former PA Zirongo Nyakera, and Economic Freedom Party, led by Isaac Hassan Abey, are among the first political parties to take note of UDA Secretary General Cleo Malala's call to fold and join the ruling party. Others are Chama cha Mashinani, led by its chairperson Mohamed Gulay, National Agenda Party, led by Alfayo Agufana, and Chama cha Kazi, led by its Secretary General James Kemani. UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala said the party leaders and representatives unconditionally agreed to provide political tranquility in Kenya and support the Kenya Kwanza administration in bringing all Kenyans together so that President William Ruto's manifesto to Kenyans can be achieved.
Tutawaweka katika chama chetu, wawe pia officials katika chama chetu, wawe pia members katika chama chetu. So tumewapatia idhini kwamba wanaweza participate katika grassroots elections zetu.
Asante kabisa. Malala, who unsuccessfully contested for the Kakamega gubernatorial seat on an ANC party ticket in the last general election, raised a storm in a teacup when he suggested that Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties should fold up and merge with UDA.
Wakitoka hapa wanaenda katika registry of political parties, waanze kupitia zile kanuni ambazo zinahitajika.
When I speak on behalf of national agenda, I would like it known that we are not being coerced to dissolve our parties.
Meanwhile, leaders from the Nyanza region, including former Nairobi County Governor Evans Kidero, former Migori County Governor Okoth Obado, and former Kisumu County Governor Jock Ranguma, have confirmed joining the United Democratic Alliance Party. The leaders argued that they will be working with the Kenya Kwanza government to ensure development in Nyanza region.
And the Nyanza people are saying no in the strongest possible terms. Also, we don't want to be balkanized because Mandamano, whether we like it or not, is remaining to be a Luo affair. We are being segregated from the rest of the Kenyans.
That is important to me because democracy is what will take us forward. That will change the lives of our people.
Evans Kidero stated that the ruling party cared for the people of Kenya, adding that the Azimio coalition was focused on the wrong agenda.
So we are joining a party that cares about its people, not a party that, like the one we've left, that chaos. He is only interested in chaos. He's only interested in doing things for themselves, but not for the people who've elected them.
ANC party led by Lamu County Governor Issa Timami has since dismissed the calls, saying plans were in fact underway to rejuvenate the Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi affiliated party from the grassroots. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has also scoffed at the calls, noting that Kenya is a multi-party democracy, and as such, Kenyans should be allowed to make their own political choices.
The National Police Service.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has assured that no Kenya Kwanza affiliate party will be coerced to dissolve and join UDA. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47, Nairobi.
Moving on, and today marks exactly 6 months since President William Ruto was inaugurated under the Kenya Kwanza government. He climbed to the country's highest position through his bottom-up economic model, promising to revive the economy, which he claimed was struggling. While the new administration has fulfilled some of its promises, the misses seem to outweigh the hits, as Flora Limuki now puts it into perspective.
The fifth president of the Republic of Kenya.
Kenya's fifth president now marks his first year in office with a mixed record of achievements and challenges. With a growing resistance from the opposition, President Ruto and his administration face a tough balance of taming the opposition and also delivering to Kenyans who elected them.
Freedom is here.
Take note that on 20th March of 2023, we have a date with destiny in Nairobi.
The president has faced criticism by Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who has declared his presidency as illegitimate. The skyrocketing cost of living has left many Kenyans struggling to put food on their tables, with many castigating the Kenya Kwanza government for the high price of unga, which is now retailing at over 200 shillings. This has been coupled with a biting drought across the country, with more than 6 million Kenyans having been affected. Also, for the last 1 month, more than 100 people have lost their lives to the banditry attacks in the North Rift. The Kenya Kwanza administration faces a tough task of ending the decade-old menace that has disrupted people's livelihoods in the area. However, the Kenya Kwanza administration has equally ticked some boxes in the last 6 months. The president has launched a new initiative called the Hustler Fund, aimed at improving financial inclusion and access to credit for small and medium enterprises, SMEs. The fund is intended to make it easier for the businesses to borrow loans.
Come on guys, wapi shangwe vigelegele za the launch of Hustler Fund!
The president also overturned former President Uhuru Kenyatta's decision ordering that all cargo clearance be reverted back to the Mombasa port on his first day in office. The 7 judges that former President Uhuru Kenyatta failed to appoint were also appointed as promised by the head of state. In a past interview, the president indicated that his administration imported 1.5 million bags of fertilizer immediately it came into office and reduced the price of a 90 kg bag of fertilizer from 6,000 to 3,500 Kenyan shillings to ensure the country becomes food secure. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Moving on, and tonight, Azimio Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga has illegally declared next Monday a public holiday to allow his supporters to march to Nairobi to protest President William Ruto's 2022 election victory. Odinga's announcement, which does not hold any water under the Constitution, was received with jubilation during an Azimio People's Baraza in Siaya County. And as Apollo Kamau now tells us, Odinga has declined an appeal by religious leaders to call off Monday's march to State House.
Raila Amolo!
Azimio Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga rallied his home county of Siaya in his quest to mobilize opposition supporters to what he says will be a peaceful march to State House Nairobi to protest his alleged stolen election victory. Responding to a call by his 2022 running mate Mother Karua to declare Monday a public holiday, Odinga did not disappoint his support base, declaring Monday a public holiday to allow his supporters to march to the capital.
Na mimi naomba baba pengine atangaze hiyo siku iwe public holiday. Hatuwezi kuandamana tukifuata haki yetu na tuende kazi. Hiyo siku, Your Excellency, twakuomba iwe public holiday.
We declare that Monday the 20th of March will be a public holiday.
The announcement will no doubt upset President William Ruto's administration and set the stage for a clash between the government and the opposition, as the declaration has no legal standing, given it's only Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki who can only make such an announcement. Odinga's headline stance on the planned Monday protests came as religious leaders appealed to the opposition to call off the mass action, but a defiant Odinga could hear none of it.
We urge the opposition to reconsider the proposed mass action program and instead embrace dialogue and other peaceful approaches that do not threaten the lives and livelihoods of Kenyans. That we, people of Azimio, came to the conclusion that we need to have a protest march after our ultimatum was completely ignored. Secondly, this is going to be a very peaceful procession. And that's why we've said we don't want any kind of violence, we don't want any bloodshed.
There are fears that Monday's march to State House could trigger chaos, with Azimio warning the government not to use police to quell the protests, further reminding the government that the International Criminal Court at The Hague still exists. This is not the first time Odinga is usurping the law. In 2018, he saw himself as a people's president at Nairobi's Uhuru Park to protest retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's 2017 election victory. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Now, the planned protest by the leader of the One Kenya coalition, Azimio la Umoja, continues to stir controversy among lawmakers from the Kenya Kwanza coalition and some members of the public. Kenya Kwanza legislators argue that Raila Odinga's action will not solve the challenges facing Kenyans, and he will be responsible for any resulting damage. Paul Kirobi with the details.
The anti-Ruto protest led by Raila Odinga have sparked heated reactions among legislators who are allied to the Kenya Kwanza government, with the climax of the protest expected to take place on Monday in Nairobi. The Kenya Kwanza lawmakers have criticized Odinga, saying that his protests are of no benefit to Kenyans and have led to the loss of property and lives, insisting that he will be held accountable for any losses incurred.
Ya kwamba historia tumeiona kwa maandamano yenye imefanyika hapo mbeleni, kwenye biashara za watu zimevunjwa, kwenye fujo na vurugu imetokea, kwenye hata watu wengine kama mtoto Pendo amepigwa risasi. Hiyo ndio maandamano hatutaki.
He was there when prices of the things were going up, even petrol. He can't now pretend that, oh, now you see they have gone up. Within 6 months, how can you bring down the economy the way he wants to be?
Obstacles shall not be entertained. How can a man who has lost presidential elections 5 times and seems preparing for the 6th attempt 6 months after he lost the last one, not mature up enough to move on with his life? We are tired.
The lawmakers are now pushing to keep off Raila Odinga from getting the attention of President William Ruto, claiming that he's attempting to force a handshake.
That the back door they are used to in getting into government was permanently shut after the last elections. It will not be opened again, not in the Ruto administration.
Kwanza ambie wana Kenya, juu walikuwa ndani ya hiyo serikali kupitia handshake. Kulifanyika nini? Kutoka hapo makosa tunaona ni kwake na yule mwingine ambao walikuwa wameshikana na kuendelea na administration yenye ilikuwa.
Odinga, who has lost 5 elections in his bid to clinch the top seat, has warned the government against using the police to sabotage his demonstrations. Today, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims has urged Odinga to refrain from holding demonstrations, as this is likely to interfere with the Ramadan calendar in the country, further calling for him to reconcile with President William Ruto.
Kwa hivyo hatutaki tuingie kwenye mwezi huu ambao ni wiki ijayo ambao kuna hiyo mass action, sisi kwenda mabarabarani kuwa watu wataumizwa, watu wataporoa mali yao, au watu watapiga makelele, kuwe na fujo. Na huu katika mwezi wa Ramadhani ni mwezi mtukufu.
Political pundits argue that Raila's actions are likely to destabilize the economy, which is now in its 6th month under the new administration. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Moving on, the university's academic staff union, or UASU, has threatened to call its members to protest if the government does not release capitation and salaries. UASU has taken issue with the delay from the Ministry of Education to release the funds, saying the government is, for lack of a better word, insensitive and inconsiderate to the staff in public universities who are yet to receive their salaries. UASU says the delays in release of the funds has brought disrespect and embarrassment to the lecturers for far too long. Moving on, and 10 executive committee members have been sworn in to serve the county government of Mombasa, with none of the CECMs having been retained from the previous regime of former Governor Ali Hassan Joho. Now, this delay can be linked to 2 postponements of the gubernatorial elections in Mombasa following a mix-up of ballot papers during the August last year's general elections.
I shall do justice to all. So help me God.
The County 001 becomes the last to appoint, approve and swear in its County Executive Committee members 6 months after the 2022 general election.
I shall diligently discharge my duties
and perform my functions in the said office.
The team is expected to steer the 10 available dockets in the county government of Mombasa, including the Department of Lands, Urban Renewal and Housing, Department of Health, Environment and Solid Waste Management, among others.
The youngest waziri in the county.
The county boss Abdul Swamad Nasir says he has appointed a diverse team of leadership, noting that different tribes, gender and religions have been considered.
Mombasa itakuwa ni sehemu ambayo kila mmoja atahisi ni mwana Mombasa, bila ya kusema ya kwa tofauti ya rangi, bila ya kusema tofauti ya dini,
tofauti za kabila wala tabaka. Ofisi za serikali ya kaunti ziwe wazi kwa watu wote, kando na mambo yote mengine.
This includes his deputy Francis Thoya, who will serve in environment and solid waste management docket.
Watu 10 ambao tuko hapa tumepewa nafasi ya kwenda kuwahudumia watu wa Mombasa. Ushauri wangu, la kwanza, mawaziri hatutawapatia nafasi ya kupigwa na AC. There will be no room to sit in offices to enjoy the luxury of air conditions.
However, none of the outgoing County Executive Committee members have been retained from the previous regime led by the former Governor Hassan Joho. Mombasa and Kakamega counties had conducted a gubernatorial by-election on August 29th last year following ballot papers mix-up, leading to the delay of naming of the CECs. The delay in appointments had at several occasions prompted a debate, with some implying that the county governor was under political pressure to name certain individuals to his cabinet, but he later cleared the air on the matter. Paul Munio, TV 47, Mombasa.
Moving on, and Kenyans are still facing tough economic times after the removal of the maize flour subsidies last year. The situation has been compounded by the government's failure to pay the debt it owes to maize millers, resulting in a cost increase of 269 million shillings. Here now is Elizabeth Mutuku with more details on this issue that is likely to rub many Kenyans the wrong way.
The Union of Flour Millers has stated that the government's failure to pay them 2.5 billion shillings has caused delays in their normal operations. However, the union has denied any plans to go on strike as means to force the government to pay them.
Just confirm to us, are you planning to go slow, to hold the government to ransom? Please answer.
Yes. Government to honor its part of the bargain. In solidarity, are you planning to go slow so that we become so hungry that you have to be paid?
We have no intention or even thoughts of that kind. Our business is to mill and sell our flour. We have no intention of actually doing something like that, absolutely.
The retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's government had implemented a plan to provide cheap flour to Kenyans for a duration of 4 weeks, which incurred a cost of approximately 6.6 billion shillings for the government. Delay in payment by the government to millers has led an increase in owed amount by 249 million shillings, which is a cause of concern. And now the Union of Millers has expressed concerns that the government's efforts to reduce the price of flour may not succeed due to the 2.5 billion shillings debt it owes them.
Just in Jerusalem, would you be patriotic enough and magnanimous to only pursue the principal amount and say, in the interest of the Republic of Kenya, let us waive the entire interest accruing?
Cash flow is stuck at a place. What do? That's why we've been trying. We're requesting you, honorables, to actually request the government. The sooner we can sort out, the better we become than sitting as we are. Because we are suffering as a business. The interest is not very critical, but the business itself is very critical.
Cereal Millers Association had requested MPs to advocate for their payment, but the MPs have accused subsidy program of being political ploy to embezzle funds. MPs have suggested that the government default on outstanding bills owed to millers have referred to maize subsidy program, which was initiated in the final days of President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration as fraudulent scheme.
And the people of Kenya are asking, and you've heard, even this report has said that there was an outcry that this maize did not get to the people. You come here, take all our time, we sit here, or the media members of the forest are here, and then you do not give us evidence of how you did the last mile.
Trying to subsidize the flour to come to 100 shillings, there was no other energy source that was cheaper than this flour. So we did advise, it was expected the demand would be very high. because there was a human cry. People were suffering. They couldn't afford the flour. So we either do something or we don't do nothing.
As all the details of up to the last supermarket that we delivered to, every single detail per miller, per region, each and every, whether it's Naivas, whether it's a walk-in, whether it's general trade, is all in this file that is here with Ms. Lorraine.
The union, led by Chairman Mohammed Islam and Chief Executive Officer Paloma Fernandez, who appeared before the National Assembly Agriculture Committee, also denied allegations that they are planning to go slow in order to pressure the government for payments.
To sit down with the government to find an amicable way of how to sort this problem out. The sooner we do it, the better it is for them and for us, because we are also strained. We need to buy maize, we need to import maize. So where do we get the money? As a business is cash flow.
2.5 billion excluding interest. That's the figure that we said is the amount of outstanding as regards the 29 members of CMA.
The union says it is important to at least import maize used as animal feed in the country to be used for human consumption. Even as an audit goes on the last subsidy, which would cost Kenyans 6 billion shillings, things are not getting better, even as millers warn of unavailability of white GMO maize, not only in Kenya, but in the world. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47 Pan Biddings, Nairobi.
Moving on, rally driver Maxine Wahome's family has dismissed lawyer Andrew Musangi and hired Philip Murgor as her new legal representative ahead of her murder plea hearing tomorrow. Speaking to the media, the Kilimani police station, lawyer Murgor revealed that he had pursued the case documents and was puzzled as to why the prosecution had charged Maxine with murder. Now Maxine is scheduled to plead to the charges in the High Court tomorrow. Murgor has applied to the court to argue the case physically instead of via virtual means so that they can extensively debate the matter. The lawyer also stated that they are ready to expedite the proceedings so that Maxine can return to a normal life. Murgor added that Maxine, who is a 25-year-old rally driver, cannot fathom why she is in custody. Earlier, she underwent a psychic evaluation and was deemed as fit to stand trial.
Yeah, and press. Thank you for the story of Maxine has been a one-sided narrative up in the police station, and she still doesn't know what crime she has committed. The emphasis today is just one message. Maxine is innocent. Maxine did not commit murder. Maxine did not commit any crime. I have just been retained. I have reviewed every single fact and all the circumstances surrounding this case, and I cannot understand how a charge of murder was preferred. But I don't want to go into the merits because the matter is now before court, except to say that we ask and we pray that the DCI and the DPP are ready with all the evidence so that the case can start as soon as possible. Thursday, if possible. This is a case that should be dealt with as quickly as possible. The young lady who is now locked up has her life at a standstill. She cannot carry on with her career. Her sponsors in her rallying career are withdrawing. The sooner this matter is disposed of, the better for us. This morning she was taken for assessment for her mental capacity to plead. We're pleased to inform you that, of course, she is fit to plead. Of course she is fit to plead. Maxine is a normal 25-year-old, highly intelligent person who knows exactly what she's going about in her life. So, any questions?
All right, at 9:30, we want to take a very short break right here on TV47 News Tonight. Plenty more ahead on the other side that you want to stick around for that for.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
As you enter a new phase of life, you may seem lost until you discover the passion within.
I'm happy that MKU decided to open a branch in Malindi to make work easier for those parents who have never been away from their kids or children.
It has all the equipment that I need to study and all the facilities that I need.
Seems we have one of the most beautiful and ultra-modern structure.
Join us at Mount Kenya University and Equip Africa Institute Malindi Odell Center to build your future. Intake in April for electronic learning and May for distance learning. Mount Kenya University.
Unlocking infinite possibilities.
Karibuni.
Mount Kenya.
Welcome to Nyali Golf View Residence, where a luxurious accommodation is inspired by the Indian Ocean. This exclusive residential community offers the ultimate in coastal living along Links Road, Nyali, near Mamba Roundabout. With breathtaking views of the golf course, ocean, and landscaped gardens, every moment spent in your home is an experience of tranquility, comfort, and luxury. Every detail of your spacious, fully furnished apartment has been designed with your comfort and style in mind, with open-plan living spaces, high ceilings, and elegant finishes that exude sophistication and relaxation. Experience resort-style living with a wide range of amenities, including a state-of-the-art fitness center, swimming pool, children's playground, 24-hour security, and concierge services. Experience the ultimate in luxury living and golfing at Nyali Golf View. Contact us today to schedule a visit and discover the lifestyle of your dreams. Nyali Golf View Residence, luxurious accommodations inspired by the Indian Ocean.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with TV 47 News tonight. Now, witness intimidation, evidence interference and destruction and manipulation are some of the factors hindering or acting as catalysts in the delayed delivery of justice in cases involving police officers. During a recent address to stakeholders in the criminal justice system, Penina Koome A witness in a case that involved the murder of her husband some years back called for the empowerment of Witness Protection Unit to better serve and in the expeditious prosecution of such cases, as Boyge William now tells us.
In a meeting that brought together stakeholders in the criminal justice system, Penina Koome, a widow, boldly took up the microphone to share her story of how she lost her husband in the hands of a police officer, narrating how an ex-Ruaraka officer commanding station OCS executed the heinous act by beating her husband to death.
Bwanangu alishikwa kaenda police station. Hakuwa mgonjwa. Kesho yake naenda kumtoa. Napata ako hospitali. How? I was not prepared ati naweza mpata hospitali. I'm a young mother, niko na mtoto wa mwezi moja, hata sija heal, I'm weak. Unaweza imagine hata ni Mungu siku collapse.
All these to intentionally drive a point, lifting the lead on the pain and trauma it takes for a common Kenyan to be finally granted justice in the Kenya criminal justice system.
Tena ameuliwa na askari. Hiyo uoga. Hiyo miaka ya hapo nyuma 9 years ago, haungendea askari. But things are changing. So I went through a lot of fear. In fact, I had to run away and hide myself in the village. IJM, they were looking for me. IPOA, they were looking for me because my sister-in-law, she's the one who filed the case.
Koome posing a challenge to the gathering among them officers from the Witness Protection Unit, the National Police Service, and Independent Policing Oversight Authority, among others, to help in empowering and bettering the witness protection services in the country.
Ni wengi wako nje. Mtu hata anaogopa kesi zinapotelea juu ya hiyo uoga, unashindwa sasa pale nitaenda kuface ule mtu aji. Ni aliua bwanangu, ako pale na muangalia. Hata unaweza shindwa kutoa hiyo ushuhuda. Uko na ushuhuda, you will witness, but unashindwa juu ya uoga.
The international justice system involved in ensuring that criminals are held accountable, stopping the cycle of violence and deterring others from abusing vulnerable people, called for the creation of a fund to support victims and witnesses involved in the criminal justice system. They also called for the operationalization of the Victim Protection Act of 2014. Additionally, stakeholders called for the creation of a compensation kitty to aid affected persons.
And so it's really important that when we are talking about these structures, we are really saying they are well resourced, both in terms of personnel and in terms of funds. Let us create budgets for psychosocial units in our organization. Let us have a budget. I was hoping
5% of all sexual violence related cases, it is only 5% that make it to judgment. The rest will fall out along that process, the criminal justice process. One of the reasons being the victims and their families withdrew.
Boyge William, TV 47.
Moving on, and over 300 students holding law degrees in the country are up in arms tonight, appealing to President William Ruto to intervene and have them admitted to the Kenya School of Law. Students who pursued their studies from 2015 to 2022 have not been admitted to the Kenya School of Law on the grounds that they did not score an A minimum or a B plain in English and Kiswahili. The aggrieved students, through Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino, wants the head of state to come to their aid. He told journalists at the Milimani Law Courts that the refusal by the KSL contradict the Legal Education Act. According to the legislature, despite of scoring first and second class honors, students come from humble backgrounds and education is the only independent livelihood.
And these are students whose parents really struggled so much to educate them, to ensure that they acquired education. These students were admitted in various universities to pursue their degrees in law. And having completed successfully, now these students have nowhere to go to. We have a lot of over 3,000 students from 2015 up to date in this country who graduated successfully. Some scored first class honors, some scored second upper, some scored second lower. They got different grades at the university, but they can't practice.
Elsewhere, and rice farmers in Mwea, that is Kirinyaga County, are now expecting a low harvest due to lack of water as a result of the prolonged drought situation witnessed in most parts of the country. And as Gilbert Nalwa now tells us, farmers who are harvesting more than 20 bags of rice are now harvesting as low as just 1 bag.
Wengine hawakupata kitu, siangalia hata ile. Hakuna kitu amefuna.
It is a cry of desperation by rice farmers in Mwea, Kirinyaga County. The farmers here anticipate a low production in this year's harvesting season, which is due to the prolonged drought that continues to affect families and human activities in most parts of the country.
Ile shida yenye iko hapa ilikuwa ni ya maji. Mchera haiwezi katoka, mtu anavuna eka moja unavuna kwa 300, na msimu uliopita, mwaka uliopita tulikuwa tunatoa, kama mimi nilikuwa nimetoa ngunia 17 hadi 25.
According to these farmers, this season's harvest is expected to be much lower than last season's, lowering their income and leading to them feeling the burden of the rise in the cost of living. Farmers who are harvesting over 20 bags of rice now only expecting as low as 1 bag.
Unatoroka, sasa unafanya hesabu yako, unaona mchele yenye inatoroka hiyo eka ni kidogo kuliko ile pesa utapea mwenye tinga. Unaamua tu kumwachia mchele aende nayo ajiripe mwenyewe.
Despite the farmers' efforts to source for appropriate and enough fertilizer to improve production, the farmers say they have made losses instead of profits, something that is making them consider dropping rice farming for other income-generating activities.
Rice nilikuwa nimeweka mifuko 3. Sasa unanijiuliza, hata hii kitu nimepata ya kufanya nini? Hakuna kitu imeingia kwa mfuko. Niko na watoto wanasoma, niko na nini, mambo ingine, na sijajiriwa pahali.
Sasa unaangalia maji venye iko, tulikuwa tunafikiria ile maji tulikuwa tumeahidiwa ya dam itatusaidia. Ratuni ndio inakuanga faida kwa mkulima, wakati kama mchere ya main season haijafanya vizuri. Hiyo inakuanga ni mtuni ya kujilipa nayo.
The cost of rice is expected to go up if the government will not consider importing rice as it had promised earlier. Gilbert Nalwa, TV47.
Stanchart Bank's investors are expected to yield 22 shillings per share following a 34% increase in net profits to 12.1 billion shillings. The lender's deposits grew by 5% to 279 billion. According to the firm's chief financial officer, Chemutai Murgor, an increased 18% or to 22 billion shillings non-interest income was attributed to accommodating market movements and strong performance in the wealth management business. Of course, they were speaking during the event. Chief Executive Officer Kariuki Ngari projected that the business are positioned to navigate an uncertain external environment in 2023, which is likely to remain complex due to global headwinds. Stanchart recorded operating expenses increased by 8%, reflecting the impact of inflation, as well as increased investment spend on digital capabilities.
We've announced our results driven by strong top-line growth. Our income grew by 16%. Our discipline in managing costs ensured that we were able to cater for the inflation as well as continue the investment in our digital capabilities. Overall, our costs grew by 8%. So we are really pleased with the cost-income jaws, which is your growth of top line less your growth in costs of 8%, the bottom line. Our loan impairment declined by 38% in the year.
Of that, our loans and advances grew 11%, while our deposits grew by 5%. So we are very pleased with the overall outcome of the results. And for us, both businesses performed very well. We started the year with challenges and a lot of doubt. That was the year of elections. And we know in Kenya, elections tend to cause a lot of turbulence. but we came out strongly, and we are very pleased with the results that we've delivered. 2023 is a new year with new challenges. We believe we've got momentum behind us in terms of knowing what our clients want. Globally, we are seeing it's uncertain, but we are confident that we'll navigate through.
Elsewhere, Kenya is set to receive up to 14 billion shillings from the Italian government in grants and soft loans to cover projects in the country such as agriculture, development of MSMEs, housing and urban settlements and health under the Kenya-Italy multi-annual 5-year cooperation strategy on sustainable development. Speaking during a joint press briefing at State House, President William Ruto said the government is committed to cooperate in enhancing the informal settlements redevelopment program launched by both countries. Now, this comes days after government promised to provide Italian energy firm Enispar between 250,000 and 300,000 acres of land in marginal areas to spur investment.
An opportunity to appreciate Italy for the Debt for Development program, which has provided tremendous support of water, health, education, and urban development programs. Our two countries, at political and technical levels, agreed to remove non-tariff barriers and to promote greater trade and increased investment, including negotiating avoidance of double taxation agreement, which will usher in significant high levels of foreign direct investment in various sectors by both public and private Italian companies. We are confident that even more investors will take up the myriad of opportunities in the project, including the financing that was graciously extended to the government of Kenya by Italy for the horizontal development of facilities in Concert City.
Still on money matters, Kenya local oil companies will pay imported oil on credit through government-to-government deal in Kenya shillings in a bid to ease pressure on local currency. According to Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, the government signed a deal with Saudi Aramco to supply diesel and super petrol for the next 6 months, while the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company will deliver 3 cargoes of super petrol every month. Kenya's exports and imports gap has been broadening. In 2021, the monthly average was at $1.1 billion with a deficit, and last year, monthly average deficit was at $1.2 billion. Petroleum imports account for nearly 1/3 of Kenya's imports every month.
We went into negotiation with different governments who participated, and we have closed and signed the deal with Aramco of Saudi for supply of 2 products, 2 AGO cargoes every month for a period of 6 months, though we have a contract for 270 days. We did close a deal additionally with Aramco for supply of similar amount, 2 cargoes of AGO for every month for the same pricing, basically for freight, premium, and discounting. And we did close a deal for supply of PMS, which is super, with Enoch. Enoch is the Dubai-based company for 3 cargoes every month for the next 6 months contract, and we've signed those contracts as of Friday.
I took 3 things. The oil companies pay in shillings. Only one company, the OMC, which is importing, the aggregator, will pay, opens a $LC. Yeah, and that means that, again, we have made arrangement with the banks so that there is actually no cost implications for them, so that the prices of issuing LC and confirming LCs are actually fixed. When the oil companies, the exporters actually get that LC, they will discount it with their banks, and then there is a discounting cost that we have left to them because they have stronger relationships with their.
It is now that time when my colleague Dennis Otieno now joins us to fill us in on the latest in the world of sports. Good evening, Dennis. Good to see you tonight. What are the news making headlines in the sporting front?
Well, good evening to you, to Kenneth Kanzungu, and it is absolutely good to see you also. Now, tonight we'll be telling you about the Lewa Marathon and what to expect when the competition kicks off sometime in June this year. We shall also be telling you about the games to expect later on tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Those among many others that we've lined up for you in the world of sports. But to start us off is Matters Athletics. The Lewa Marathon, preparations for the prestigious Lewa Marathon are on high gear. As giant telco Safaricom earlier today signed a partnership deal with communications company Huawei to sponsor the event to a tune of 10 million shillings ahead of its official start day of 24th June this year. The race, which is expected to attract over 1,200 participants, has raised over 800 million Kenyan shillings that is used to support conservation and community initiatives throughout Kenya. Speaking during the signing of the partnership deal, Huawei Deputy CEO Sheng Kaifu expressed their commitment in supporting the marathon. As he stated, the global event has made a difference in preserving iconic species for future generations. Meanwhile, Safaricom CEO Peter Ndegwa stated that the initiative will go a long way in developing sports talents in the country, while at the same time protecting Kenya's wildlife heritage.
This is the 24th session. We want to confirm Safaricom's commitment and sponsorship of 10 million for this year's race, which is set to take place on 24th June. Because we are proud of the cause that Lewa stands for, and especially the awareness, trying to drive the efforts to conserve our wildlife.
The 2023 marathon promises to be an even bigger and better event than before, and we proved last year that following the pandemic, people are keen to get out and back into nature. This year, we're encouraging you to ditch the desk and come run in the wild in one of Kenya's World Heritage Sites.
Meanwhile, karate athlete Joyce Juma has been awarded a scholarship for the Commonwealth Women's Leadership Program 2023 that will nurture her into developing sports management skills, which she will in turn use to develop a program that supports sports development in the country. Joyce is one of the 25 women within the Commonwealth nations in the program that will support the emerging female leaders to access educational and experiential opportunities to empower them as leaders for equal rights within the sport and communities. This is the second cohort of the program, the inaugural program taking shape in 2022, where cycling administrator Angela Achieng was a beneficiary. Speaking to the press, Joyce expressed her excitement over earning the opportunity to improve her skill set, as she stated that she intends to empower other women in the community.
I'm so happy to be here today. The reason why is because I feel like I've been given another chance, basically to give back to the community. You know, as a child who was brought up in a very humble home, I feel like I want to let other kids, especially girls, females, girls, let them know that it's possible to make it through sports. You know, it's tough, it's difficult, especially for people that do sports that are mostly male-dominated. It's tough, it's not easy, but it's very possible. I mean, I'm here today. And so I feel like I've been given this opportunity to give back.
Eric Ngige, alias Demon, will represent Kenya in the Global E-Ligue 1 Tour Finals on May 13th and 14th this year in France, after dominating the Kenyan qualifiers of the games at the Alliance Francaise here in Nairobi. Ngige battled through tough opponents and reached the finals after dispatching Lennox Kamzi Kuloba 3-1 in the quarterfinal, before winning 3-0 in post-match penalties against Harry Kappa Thuku in the semi-finals tie that ended in a 2-2 stalemate in stoppage time. The 23-year-old Ngige, who represented Kenya in Nigeria last year at the African Esports competition, won his best of three final match 3-2 against Dennis Mbemba to walk away with a prize kitty of 25,000 shillings. The E-Ligue 1 Tour qualifiers attracted many participants, as well as the France ambassador to Kenya, Arnaud Sake, who, while addressing the public at the event, expressed his excitement over esports growing in Kenya and having France football working in tandem with the country.
We are grateful that Ligue 1 in France is a partner of
e-gaming here in Kenya, which is growing. And I'm happy to see that French football is getting traction in Kenya. You know, I can see that we have a lot of people here, but let me tell you, when we had